Okay, I'm back here at the bench. I took a very brief break. Basically, all I've got left to do to disassemble this engine is remove the timing covers and gears, pull the crankcase or crankshaft out, and then on each head, I was going to drop the valves. So I pull these push rod tubes out too, because they're not going to go in the ultrasonic. Now the one thing I would like to try to do at some point off camera, because that'll bore the crap out of you, is clean these. Probably won't bother with trying to get these gaskets off here until it comes out of the ultrasonic cleaner. It'll make that a lot easier. But I'll show you the process I go through. It has been a long time that I go through to drop the valves on these engines. But I mean, in all honesty, let me see if I can go get a flashlight and shine it down in there so you can see. In all honesty, I don't really need to, because these things are in such good condition. See that? See the top of the head there? I mean, it just looks brand new in there. And if you could, I don't know how closely you can see the bottoms of the valves, but they look completely brand new to me. And that's the left cylinder. Let's see what this right one looks like. This is the one that had the darker piston. See if I'm looking in my viewfinder here, trying to see if I can. Okay, so this exhaust valve on this one does look. See if I can just get this shining on the exhaust valve a little bit there. Why is this frustrating, trying to shine this damn flashlight in there and make sure you can still kind of see? Okay, here we go. Maybe you can see that. There is some more carbon buildup on that exhaust valve on the bottom there, and then probably on the, although I don't really see any on the shaft at all. I mean, maybe that would still come off in the ultrasonic cleaner. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that these moving parts here, the valves and stuff, are in such good shape that in theory they don't really have to go into the ultrasonic cleaner. They don't really have to be dropped. In fact, what I might end up doing is pull the plugs out and put the heads in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then do another reinspection of this right side and see if it looks like it really needs it. Because in all honesty, it would be kind of fun. I mean, if you really want to see me drop valves on a Saito engine, there's plenty of other videos you can go and watch that on. It's the same thing over and over again. It's not really complicated, but I'm going to get my orientation here. So this is going to go on this side. Pull this. Thing I want to try and do here is I'm going to have to actually reference one of my old videos to make sure I see the timing marks on these, because it seemed to me, if I recall correctly, this side, I believe, had a dot. Maybe both timing gears had a dot, but I know that I lined one up with a dot and one up with a scribe mark, or a vertical line. At least that's what's coming to my memory. These are pliable and still good. That's interesting. And I'll explain what I'm talking about here in a second when I say that's interesting. So hopefully you can see it. I'm going to probably have to, can you see that dot? See the dot there? That's our timing dot. Now I'm going to have to pull these rubber boots off, get them off somehow so I can get the tappets out, or the cam follower is out, because I will need to install a screwdriver or tool in there to engage in that hole that's right here, because that's where your timing tool goes when you're timing the engine. So I'm not having a whole lot of luck doing this here, and I don't really want to screw around on video trying to get these things off. God. Well, maybe I can use this little blade here and get under there, and sometimes it's just a matter of getting under the edge there and popping it off. There we go. Now I don't have my magnet. Sometimes if you're real lucky, you can just put a magnet on here. Wait, do I have a magnet on this table? I thought I had a magnet on this table somewhere. I usually have magnets stuck on things. Yeah, here's a magnet. Another Harbor Freight thing, these big magnets. I don't know if it's going to be good at pull these out or not. Probably not. I feel it sucking on there. Oh, look at that. Pull that cam follower up. And there's the other one. So if you're lucky and the engine is really low time or brand new, you can do that. You just kind of pull up on the cam followers like that. Now, followers, is that like a southern accent? Followers. Now to actually facilitate getting this gear out of here, there's a like a 1.5 or a really small set screw right here. You gotta pull that thing up. You don't have to pull it out, just pull it up. It's just in a little slot there. And then again, if you're lucky and it's not too bound up, you can just use the end of your wrench there to push this out. Now, what we're gonna see here when I pull this out is we're gonna see probably some really thin little white Teflon discs that act as bearing material there. So here's our shaft. And there's the, I don't know if you can see the little cutout slot where that set screw goes in. And then here, just very gently pull this out. And you can see, yep, here's that one of those little spacers or bearing surface things. And then here's the other one. Oops, that one jumped out. Didn't want to be there. Very easy to lose. Pretty important to have in there. Now, the one that's on this side here with the lobes will be deformed slightly because of the way the mechanism is that holds these lobes together. It's flanged over, so this one will kind of be... Oh boy, these things are tough. So easy to lose those. So easy to lose those. Make sure, extra careful, you see that it went in there. Now again, I'm just going to wipe this. This might be one of those pieces that I don't put in the ultrasonic. So what we saw here was a dot. This is a timing dot. But then I just noticed on this other side of it, there's a dot. Dot. Just directly opposite that dot, but then there's a scribe mark. I don't know if you can see that scribe mark there. It's at a 90 degrees or just over 90 degrees away right here. I don't know if I can get the angle. Seemed to me that they may both have these markings, and you use one on one side and the other on the other to time it, but that's a ways down the line there. Now you saw in this instance I am going to leave those cam followers in their respective positions. I know they're free. I know I can get them out. I'm just going to leave them in there just because. Just because. Now this one's going to be the more fun one because this is the one that's actually got the plunger attached to the pump here, and we'll be able to see that. So as mentioned before, this is a, well, mentioned before in another video maybe, not this one. This is an air pump or an oil pump. It's a pump that has a diaphragm in here, and that diaphragm is actuated by a little pin that's in here that as these things, as the engine turns over, the cam lobe engages that pump and makes it pump. And what that's doing is it's assisting in circulating oil throughout the engine. Now, why it has two openings on it, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand that part, because you always have one of them plugged. I don't know if it's for lubrication or what. The manual does not go into that, nor did Clarence Lee's article talk about that at all. I know I got all the screws out of there. Okay, here we go. Now, before I said, oh, that's interesting. And the reason I said, oh, that's interesting when I took this cam cover off here is because now I don't know if this engine has been reworked before, because now I'm almost believing it has been, because this gasket that's on here is white. And, okay, I just got interrupted because I happened to look up at my monitor or my video screen on the camera, and it was saying my memory card is full. So I had to quickly delete some files off there and try to remember what I was saying here so I can finish this up. So when I said, oh, that's interesting when I removed that cam cover, I was looking at this, and now I believe that maybe somebody has been in this engine before. I don't know, because this gasket is white, and there should not be a white gasket on here. I don't believe, I have never seen a Saito engine that had a white gasket like this, with the exception of the ones from the 2000s. Which means that maybe Saito ultimately changed their gasket material to a white looking thing with blue lines on it. And that looks like a new gasket. A newer gasket, not the original gasket, I'll say. So let's see what it looks like on this side then too. Same thing. Same gasket. See how that's white with blue on there, and there's crap coming off of it. They were lesser quality gaskets. So now I am led to believe that this engine has been serviced before, or at least somebody's been in here before. Listen. They don't sound horrible, but let's put the crankcase in here for now. Alright, where was I putting screws for the cam? Right in there. So I am not going to take this thing off under any circumstance. I'm not going to take it apart. There's no need for that. There's no way in hell is there replacement parts for that, so it's not getting taken apart. In hell, for that matter, it may not even go in the ultrasonic. I don't know. I think it might just unscrew, but honestly, I don't know. I don't want to mess with that too much. Let's see if I can at least get these to the same level here of disassembly by pulling these boots off. What will happen with these boots is maybe some of the heat will build up and they'll kind of weld themselves to the bottom here. That's why I'm kind of getting at the bottom, and I just tore that boot. Yeah, it's alright. We could probably get a replacement boot for that. And that's what happens when you do shit like I just did. Sometimes you screw the boot. Now see, this one doesn't turn as easily. There's more friction here. Look at it, see how it's popping back?
Can you see that?
Because of that plunger and the pump in there. The diaphragm. Not sure on my first one where I did this if I took all this stuff apart or not. I'm kind of wondering if I should even do this at this point. Don't have much choice. I have to retime the engine. I really hope I did a good job of explaining timing the engine on that video. And I'm hoping I'm doing the right thing by pulling this all apart. Okay. Same little white Teflon things there. Very carefully drop them in here. Make sure that whenever I take a part out of this particular bin, I know exactly where those things are. Could just probably stick them right up against the side there, and then they would be adhered with the oil that's on there. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so this is cool. Very good, very good. Very good, very good. Yay. Okay, so this particular one, this particular timing gear
only has the dot.
The dot on this side and
a dot on this side. Can you see that? Yeah, dot there.
Now are they exactly opposite each other? That one's on a tooth. This one's on a tooth. It looks like they're exactly opposite each other. So there's your difference. One timing wheel has a dot only, and one has a dot and a scribe mark. Now the scribe mark is not on the inside of this one. It's just on the outside.
So one has scribe and a dot,
and this one just has a dot. So that's how you tell the difference between these two. And it's also very key in setting the timing of the engine. Like I said, I hope that I did a really good job explaining that. And here I can push down on that plunger. I can feel that diaphragm. Diaphragm feels like it's in good shape. Felt like that plunger wanted to come out. I don't want that to come out, I don't believe. Will it come out? Can it come out? Should it come out? Hopefully it can't, but I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. So that's where we're going to end this particular video. I don't know what video part this is. If this is 3 or 4 or what, but that's where we're going to end that. As far as this crankcase, not really a whole lot to see here. As far as any additional videos, I'm going to go out wherever I've got the heat gun and wood and a mallet and just oil this thing up. It's pretty well oiled because it's been run. Heat it up with a piece of wood on the crankshaft, this sitting on a piece of wood. Just tap that thing out. It shouldn't take anything at all to pop out. And hopefully that bearing comes out on the crankshaft. That would be ideal. This one will stay in here, and then I'll just use something else to get up in there and catch it, and then just tap it like that, heat it up, just tap the edge of it, or find a socket that's just enough to catch the center of it and pop that thing out, and that's all there is to it. So there's really no sense in me showing you that because it's been shown before on my videos. Now as far as these heads go, like I said, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm just going to drop the heads in the ultrasonic cleaner as they are, less the glow plugs, and see if that cleans them up sufficiently. There's really nothing in there that's all that bad except for this right side one had a little bit of carbon buildup on the exhaust valve, which I'm still trying to think if that means it was running rich and hot or both or one or the other. I don't know. But that's where we're going to conclude at this time.